Hello and welcome to the Vanilla WoW deep dive on hairstyles video. We're going to start this with the human male options as it's the first option on the whole list of options. We won't even talk about how many different options there are because that's not a relevant thing to hairstyles. The hairstyles are really the big thing here. We start off the human male with, it looks like he's got kind of like a Friar Tuck thing, but like party in the back going on. It's a very interesting style. First you think he's bald and then it's like wham, he's really beautiful from behind. Or maybe if you're a small gnome you might approach this man from behind and say, wow, his hair is beautiful, he must be young and handsome, and then he turns around and bam, it's a shock for the gnome. So this is a very good hairstyle if you're trying to get that surprise factor in your roleplay. Maybe I don't know, maybe you're kind of a mischievous person. Let's move on to the next hairstyle option. And oh, this one's a little more cavalier. You see we have a ponytail. It really reminds me of maybe like a fabulous guy, like a Brazilian mustachioed hero, like his name should be Fabian. This is the hairstyle that's clearly best in slot if you're going to play a character who is named Fabian. On to the next hairstyle for the human males. We have a sort of I'm emo but don't want to admit it hairstyle. You see we have the swoopy on the front. That's big for them, and it's just long and beautiful. You know he shampoos. That one's for the ladies. Next, this is more of your standard, just a little too long, you know, type of hairstyle. This is the kind of hair you would wear if, like, say maybe you cut it yourself and only, maybe these are just your bangs that are just so long they're off to the side, I can't even tell. So maybe you don't cut it, and maybe that's the problem. Maybe you should. Next we have the classic, this is a surprise hairstyle. This is the no hair hairstyle. You might be thinking, how could no hair be a hairstyle? But here it is. This is an Easter egg that was placed into the game by Blizzard's developers when they saw an Easter egg and they thought it should be a hairstyle, so they made this bald one. This next one, kind of pulled a sneaky one on you there, changed it without discussing it, but that's okay. This is more of a deep dive anyway. We're allowed to make mistakes. We're recording this live. This hair is more of a I work at a hardware store type haircut. It's not a very popular haircut in the World of Warcraft because there aren't any hardware stores. You know, there's engineering vendors and stuff, but I wouldn't really call that a hardware store because they don't have lawnmowers. So this guy has no place in the game. Next hairstyle. This is the classic Buzz Aldrin, Marine Man hairstyle that you definitely want to. I think you're required to use this hairstyle if you're role playing as part of the Stormwind Guard. That's a very popular thing to do here in this game. I wish I could rotate the model and show you, but his that's a very flat top. On the top there, it's very flat, extremely flat, flatter than the earth. And in fact, it was a clever choice by Blizzard to not allow the model rotation in this section of the game because otherwise too many players, actually in the first alpha test of World of Warcraft, this is a true fact, too many alpha players got stuck rotating their cameras on to the top of this man's head, and nobody could progress farther in the game. And so that was quickly patched out in the next alpha build, and then players actually began playing the game after they stopped looking at how flat this man's hair is. Onto our next hairstyle, you have more of the traditional Friar Tuck looking hair. This would be really top tier if you're a priest. Maybe you wouldn't have that mustache. I'm gonna yeah, no, that's kind of an angry, we want like a there we go. This is a soft man, okay? He has a baby face skin. His top of his head is probably very smooth as well. He is perfect for wearing a dress and playing a priest. That's your best in slot priest haircut for sure. The next model is more, we're getting back to the warriors here. This is more of like a burly man, like a Scottish, like a warrior, like Braveheart, like maybe you're the Highlander, right? You're role playing as a Highlander in your human warrior World of Warcraft experience. So you kind of need the strong but Scottish look going on. That's a haircut that exudes power to me. Next is the one we maybe should have started with, is this is the default for humans. This is the first haircut that everybody should see and get because it's number one. You see this one is the best because it's not too long, it's not too short. It's just a little longer than most men's hair in today's modern hairstyles, and that's how you know that this is a fantasy game from the past, because the standard hair is different from today's. And here we have just a slightly shaggier version of that. Next one is, I'm not even sure if I'm going in the right direction. Were these the same? Oh, these are almost the same. Look at these. It's 1, 2, 3. They call that a triplet in the music business. Look, that has to be a new Easter egg. I think I'm going to submit a bug report for this one, because there's no way these three extremely similar hairstyles should have been next to each other in the menu. And that brings us to the end of the human male warriors. Onto the females. It's hair. Ooh, this one's, are these different? Oh, geez. Oh God, that's a bug. Oh boy. Oh God, no. You're seeing all my information. Oh, fuck, no. My credit cards. My credit cards. And we're back. Nothing wrong happened. That's another feature. If you're in the character select screen for at least 6 minutes, maybe that happens. I don't know. We're gonna have to submit a bug report on that one. Here's some female hair. I mean, who plays females in an why gotta look at girl hair? Do it on your own time. Next we have the dwarves coming up. These are, you expect from the dwarves, you expect to see a lot of dwarvish influences in the hairstyles. This is a subtle nod to the fact that dwarves are actually a different race from the humans, so they will in fact have different hairstyles. Back in the MMO that came out before this game, World of Warcraft, it was called Dungeons and Dragons, I believe. The humans and males all had the same haircuts because you were only allowed to imagine one haircut, and it was the same for both. So World of Warcraft has really taken it a step. Ooh, you saw a little bit of the flat there. That was beautiful. They've taken it one step further here, and the dwarves and humans actually have different hair, so that's pretty cool. So this is kind of your standard, like angry firebeard dwarf man. I could see him being a fire mage. That's totally the. Oh my God, it's not even possible in Classic. What have I done? I just spoiled it for you. They patched that in later. Quickly on to the next hairstyle. This is a throwback to the bald option, the semi-bald option with the long back hair from the human males that we were discussing earlier. It's in storytelling, they like to call those callbacks, where they basically do the same thing, but more than once. And this one is this is the paintbrush. If this is the kind of hairstyle you see like when trolls behead people and they carry around the shrunken heads, they always seem to have this hairstyle, and it looks kind of like a paintbrush. If you could dip his head in paint and make a painting with that, just the hair. This is the long ponytail. This one is the most interesting because they're still sticking with the bald on top option. It's apparently there's a small unknown piece of lore deep in Blizzard's histories, their annals of histories, where they talk about how part of the reason dwarves are so short is because there was a giant buzzsaw that ran around Ironforge, and they were too short. All the ones who were too tall died, and the short people lived, but the tops of their hairs got cut off, and that's why all the dwarves are bald. And that brings us to our next one. This guy clearly ducked, because you might notice he's actually extremely similar to the man before, except he has hair on the top of his head. Not very common with the dwarf people. Maybe he was a little younger when the buzzsaw came, and so he's a little smaller. It's entirely possible. This you saw a little preview earlier. This is the classic, you know, total bald dome option. You know, this is another great classic, you know, redone by Blizzard. They really outdid themselves with this hairstyle. This is actually one of my favorites because it's one of the very few where the hair does not clip with the model of your helmet, which seems to be an issue sometimes with some of the more flamboyant hairstyles. So moving on to the next one, this is, I don't know, did we see this one before? Or no, that's different. Or did we see that one? Oh god, there are just so many. Who can even tell these? This one's definitely different. We haven't seen this one before. This is clearly his face hair is longer than his head hair. Like, what? Who gets their hair cut this way? This is totally unrealistic. This one shouldn't have even been included in the game. That has to bring us back to start. I feel like we've seen all the dwarf males. Oh no, this is the classic. The long but shaggy, the ponytail in the front, the ponytail in the back. You know, if you're gonna play, you know, like your dwarf hunter, like this is clearly the best in the slot. And I know a lot of my fans out there, all the dwarf hunters, they, you know, comment on the YouTube videos. They tell me, you know, we really got to see that classic hair. And so, you know, I've been in the beta for years now, so I'm happy to get that piece of information out to you. As you know, as a big YouTuber, that's my job. But you know, anyway, that's all the time I have for today. I can't possibly spend any more time on this video for not monetization issues anyway. That's the video. We'll continue the rest of the hairstyles from the rest of the game in a later video.